Hey, what's up guys, Stock Easy here, and I just want to start this video off thanking you guys so much for your encouragement and your support. You guys have been just so incredible in liking this video, subscribing to my channel, finding me on Instagram, sending me messages, wanting to talk about the Fuji gear and how I shoot and my process. And in turn, I have found some incredible photographers out there. I mean, you guys are amazing. So I'm following a bunch of you back on Instagram right now, and thank you for the kind words and going through and liking my photos. This has been so refreshing and a much needed venture into the YouTube community and the Fuji X shooters community. So again, thank you. Can't say thank you enough. So I'm gonna try and make a video once a week for you guys. And I also wanna show my appreciation by possibly giving away some prints from my India trip. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. We can have a little discussion. I might give away a few of those. It's important to me that my photos exist outside of the digital realm. I don't just want them to be on Instagram, on my website, and here. I would love it if people could see them in person and, you know, hang them and admire it. It'd be an honor if anybody wanted to hang any of my stuff. So, moving on, today's video is about the FujiFilm X100F, and this thing is a beast of a camera. I want to show you guys a project that I recently took to my Camera of the Month club that I've joined, and we meet on the last Tuesday of every month. We sit down, we critique each other's work. It's an incredible, enlightening experience. It opens your eyes to a lot of things that you might not have seen or even thought about when you look at your own work. This was a camping trip that I took last year to Ross Lake, which is in Washington. And the reason for going to this particular spot was there was a death in my girlfriend's family. It happened to be one of her cousins, and this was her favorite place to go. So I didn't want to show up with a ton of equipment. I didn't want to draw a lot of attention to myself. I was there to emotionally support her family and her especially, and it didn't feel right to bring a bunch of gear. So I decided to just bring the FujiFilm X100F with me on this trip. Normally I'm used to shooting the 35mm Fujinon f2 or the 50mm Fujinon f2. I am big on isolating my subjects. I do that with focal length, I do it with shallow depth of field, and I do it with framing, composition. I don't like messy frames. I like to clean them up. Any distractions, you know, the image is all about what you put in the frame, so I like tighter frames. This was the first time that I had ever really went on a longer trip and only brought one lens with me, one camera. The idea was that I could tell stories, and I would need to find how to isolate my subjects in their environment with a 35mm equivalent. I was up for the challenge, and I did 2 edits on these images. A lot of you guys asked me about my process. I don't claim to be any type of professional or professional retoucher. I am still finding my way to a cohesive body of work that looks like it belongs to one photographer, and through that journey is a lot of experimentation, which you're about to see right now. A is a very high contrast, punchy, almost as if Ansel Adams went camping was the inspiration for this. And then the second one is I had come across an old film stock that was being brought back, but it was used for movies, that is now becoming stills film. The tonality was so beautiful. It was mostly gray tones. So no true whites, no true blacks, but a lot of grays. That's gonna be B. So you guys are gonna see what these 2 images look like side by side, and you can tell me which one you like better. So even if you're doing something as simple as a black and white image, and excuse me for saying simple, I don't mean that, I'm just saying you should be able to experiment within that. How your blacks and your whites transition into gray tones, and your film curves, and your lumosity, all those things are a factor, and you should experiment with that. Now, something incredible happened when I was shooting with this 23mm Fuji X100F for the trip, and it was the only camera that I had brought with me. So I was in Washington for more than just this camping trip. I was in Bellingham, I went to Seattle, I was all over the place with just this camera, and I fell in love with the 35mm focal length equivalents. Try this at least one time. I'm a gearhead, and I have a million lenses that I bring with me all over the place, but since this trip a year ago, I've started realizing that that only became a detriment to me shooting. The more options I had, the more confused I got about what it is that I wanted to shoot and how I wanted to shoot it. Just having this 23mm, 35mm equivalent became like second nature. You know, I just had this, so there was nothing else that I could do about it. I wasn't thinking about, oh man, I wish I could shoot that mountain. Oh man, I wish I could do this. this was it. So by the time I brought this up, by the end of the trip, I knew my framing. It became like an extension of my own hand, and people say that all the time, but it is so true. Find your focal length, just try it. Just try it for maybe like a week or something. Just attach one of those lenses to your camera because you have enough and you have more than enough time in life. You don't need to be switching every 5 seconds. Try it week by week and see which one fits for you, because I fell in love with this focal length. So by the time I came back, I was just running around shooting with the 23mm only. This camera is insanely capable. It's an incredible camera. These images, I'm gonna blow them up bigger than the last ones in the video, just so you guys can see the quality that comes out of this camera, because they are stunning. And you know, I suggest this camera to a lot of beginners, professionals, amateurs, because it's really all you need. And I think more importantly, for someone that's learning how to shoot, this is a great camera because now you're forced to understand exactly how your aperture affects your image and your shutter speed and your ISO. A lot of people say these cameras are not for beginners, but I beg to differ. I think this is an incredible camera to learn photography on, because there's a direct response to what you do here to what you see in this image, as opposed to a mountain mode or a portrait mode or an auto mode or M or P or TV mode. This strips all that away and just teaches you the bare bones of photography. So check out the images, they're already streaming, and just, you know, thanks again.